Good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. We've all been there, stuck in conversations or situations where someone's negativity seems to drain the very life out of the room. Toxic people can take many forms: the chronic complainer, the manipulator, the critic who never has anything nice to say. But here's the truth: you don't have to let their behavior control your life. Let's begin with boundaries, one of the most powerful tools for dealing with toxic people. Boundaries are not about being harsh or cutting people out of your life entirely, although in some cases that might be necessary. Instead, boundaries are about creating a healthy space between you and the negativity where you can feel safe and maintain your sense of self. When we don't set boundaries, toxic people often take advantage of our time, energy, and emotions. They may push past our comfort zones, pile their problems onto our plates, or even manipulate us into feeling guilty for not meeting their needs. Without boundaries, we might find ourselves constantly drained, resentful, and unsure of where we end and the other person begins. Here's the truth: you are not responsible for fixing anyone's life, nor are you obligated to absorb the negativity they bring into yours. But boundaries are not just about keeping others out, they're about keeping your peace intact. The first step is identifying your limits. Reflect on what feels uncomfortable or overwhelming in your interactions with a toxic person. Is it their constant criticism, their never-ending demands, their tendency to disrespect your time? Once you know what crosses the line for you, it becomes easier to recognize when that line is being approached or crossed. Next, you need to communicate your boundaries clearly. This doesn't mean being aggressive or confrontational. In fact, boundaries can be expressed with kindness and firmness at the same time. For example, I'm happy to listen to you, but I can only spare 15 minutes right now. I can't take on any extra projects this week. Thanks for understanding. I need some space to process, so I'm going to take a step back from this conversation. Notice the language here: it's respectful, direct, and leaves no room for negotiation. The key is to focus on what you need rather than pointing fingers or blaming the other person. But boundaries don't stop at words. Enforcing them is just as crucial. Toxic individuals often test the limits to see if you really mean what you say. They might push back, ignore your requests, or try to guilt you into compliance. This is where consistency comes in. If someone repeatedly disrespects your boundary, it's up to you to follow through on the consequences you've set. For instance, if you've told a friend you can't talk late at night and they keep calling, you might stop answering the phone after a certain time. It's important to remember that setting boundaries is not about controlling someone else's behavior, it's about controlling your own. You're deciding what you will and won't tolerate, and you're taking steps to protect yourself accordingly. Now, let's address the elephant in the room: guilt. Many of us feel guilty when we set boundaries, especially if we've been conditioned to prioritize others' needs over our own. But here's a mindset shift. Boundaries are not selfish, they're self-respect in action. When you set a boundary, you're teaching others how to treat you, and you're giving yourself permission to value your own well-being. Lastly, remember that boundaries are not one size fits all. They might look different depending on the relationship, the situation, and your personal comfort level. What matters is that they work for you. Over time, you'll find that boundaries not only protect you from toxicity, but also empower you to show up more fully in your relationships with greater clarity, confidence, and peace of mind. In a world where toxic people exist, boundaries are your shield. Use them wisely, and you'll discover that you're stronger and more resilient than you ever realized. Let's talk about self-compassion, a practice that might sound simple but can feel incredibly challenging when dealing with toxic people. Toxic individuals have a way of sowing doubt, stirring up shame, and making us question our own worth. Whether it's through criticism, manipulation, or dismissiveness, their behavior can leave emotional scars. This is why self-compassion isn't just a nice to have, it's a vital tool for protecting your mental and emotional health. At its core, self-compassion is about treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you'd offer to a dear friend. It's about being on your own side, especially when someone else's words or actions threaten to pull you down. But what does that actually look like in practice? Step 1, acknowledge your pain without judgment. When a toxic person's behavior affects you, it's easy to dismiss your feelings or tell yourself to just get over it. But denying your emotions doesn't make them disappear, it buries them, only for them to resurface later in more harmful ways. Practicing self-compassion begins with recognizing what you're feeling. Are you hurt, angry, confused? Whatever it is, give yourself permission to name it without shame or self-criticism. Remember, your feelings are valid, even if someone else tries to tell you otherwise. Step 2. Understand that you're not alone. Toxic relationships often make us feel isolated, as if we're the only ones dealing with such behavior. This isolation can amplify feelings of shame and inadequacy. But here's the truth: everyone struggles with difficult people at some point. You are not the first person to feel overwhelmed by someone's negativity, and you won't be the last. Knowing that others face similar challenges can be a powerful reminder that your experiences don't make you weak or flawed, they make you human. Step 3, reframe your inner dialogue. One of the most insidious effects of toxic people is how their negativity can infiltrate our own thoughts. Over time, you might find yourself repeating their hurtful words in your mind, turning their criticism into self-criticism. This is where self-compassion becomes a transformative practice. Instead of berating yourself for mistakes or perceived shortcomings, try speaking to yourself with kindness. For example, instead of "I should have handled that better," say, "I did the best I could with what I knew at the time." Instead of "Why do I let this person get to me?" say, "It's okay to feel upset. This is a tough situation and I'm allowed to take time to process it." Shifting your self-talk won't happen overnight, but with practice, it can become second nature. The goal is to create a mental environment where you feel supported even in the face of adversity. Step 4, give yourself grace for imperfections. Toxic people often have a way of magnifying our mistakes, pointing out our flaws, or making us feel like we're never enough. In these moments, it's crucial to remind yourself that perfection is not the goal, growth is. Mistakes are a natural part of life, and they don't define your worth. When you fall short, give yourself the same grace you'd extend to someone you love. Tell yourself, "I'm learning, I'm growing, and I'm doing the best I can." Step 5, prioritize self-care as an act of compassion. Self-compassion isn't just about how you talk to yourself, it's also about how you treat yourself. Toxic people can leave you feeling depleted, so it's essential to replenish your energy with intentional acts of self-care. This might mean taking time to rest, doing something that brings you joy, or seeking out activities that help you feel grounded and whole. Self-care is not selfish, it's a necessary part of maintaining your resilience in the face of negativity. Step 6, forgive yourself for past mistakes. Dealing with toxic people often brings up regret for tolerating their behavior for too long, for not standing up for yourself, or for engaging in the toxicity. But holding on to these regrets only prolongs your suffering. Self-compassion invites you to forgive yourself, not because you're excusing the toxic person's behavior, but because you deserve to move forward without the weight of self-blame. Step 7, recognize your own worth. Toxic people thrive on making others feel small, but self-compassion is your reminder their opinion does not define you. Take time to reflect on your strengths, your achievements, and the qualities that make you uniquely you. Celebrate those things and hold on to them when someone tries to tear you down. When dealing with toxic people, one of the most critical skills you can develop is learning to manage where and how you invest your energy. Energy is finite. We all have a limited amount of emotional, mental, and physical bandwidth to spend each day. Toxic individuals have a way of draining that energy, often leaving us feeling exhausted, frustrated, and powerless. But here's the good news. You can take back control by choosing your energy wisely. To begin, it's important to recognize that not every situation or person deserves your full engagement. Toxic people often thrive on conflict, drama, or manipulation. They may intentionally push your buttons or create situations designed to provoke an emotional response. Before reacting, pause and ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Not every battle needs to be fought, and not every comment deserves a reply. Choosing your energy wisely means knowing when to walk away, disengage, or simply not respond. Step 1, prioritize your peace. Your peace of mind is a valuable resource that toxic people often seek to disrupt. Make a conscious decision to protect it. This might mean setting firm boundaries about when and how you interact with certain individuals. For example, if you know someone always brings negativity to the conversation, limit the time you spend with them or steer the discussion toward neutral topics. Protecting your peace might also mean reducing the emotional weight you place on their opinions. Remember, their negativity is a reflection of them, not you. Step 2, assess the value of engagement. Not all conflicts are created equal. Some issues require your attention, while others are better left unaddressed. When deciding whether to engage with a toxic person, consider these questions. Does addressing this issue align with my values or goals? Will engaging bring about a meaningful resolution, or will it escalate the conflict? Am I emotionally and mentally prepared to handle this right now? If the answer to these questions points to disengagement, give yourself permission to step back. Walking away isn't a sign of weakness. It's a strategic choice to conserve your energy for what truly matters. Step 3, learn the power of detachment. Detaching doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop carrying what isn't yours. Toxic individuals often try to offload their negativity, anger, or problems onto others. By detaching, you acknowledge their behavior without taking it personally or allowing it to affect your emotional state. For instance, if someone criticizes you unfairly, detachment might look like saying, "That's their opinion, but it doesn't define me." Detachment is about creating a healthy emotional buffer between you and their toxicity. Step 4, choose your battles carefully. Toxic people can be masters of distraction, drawing you into arguments or debates that serve no real purpose. Ask yourself, does this really matter in the grand scheme of things? If the answer is no, let it go. Save your energy for battles that align with your values, protect your boundaries, or contribute to meaningful change. For example, if a coworker constantly makes passive-aggressive comments, you might choose to address it directly and professionally to maintain a healthy work environment. On the other hand, if someone on social media posts something inflammatory, you might decide it's not worth your time or mental energy to engage. Step 5, cultivate selective availability. One of the best ways to protect your energy is to be intentional about when and how you make yourself available. Toxic people often demand immediate responses or expect you to prioritize their needs over your own. Practice selective availability by taking time before responding to messages or calls. Setting specific times for engaging with difficult individuals. Politely declining invitations or interactions that don't serve your well-being. Remember, you don't owe anyone unlimited access to your time or energy. It's okay to say, I'm not available for this right now. Step 6, focus on solutions, not problems. Toxic people often dwell in negativity, focusing on what's wrong rather than what can be done to fix it. When interacting with someone like this, try redirecting the conversation towards solutions. For example, if they're complaining about a problem, ask, what steps can we take to address this? If they're being overly critical, say, I hear your concerns. How do you suggest we move forward? This approach not only shifts the focus, but also sends a subtle message you're not here enough in negativity. If they resist or continue to dwell on the problem, you can choose to end the conversation and conserve your energy. Step 7, invest in what uplifts you. Just as it's important to limit your exposure to toxic people, it's equally important to surround yourself with individuals and activities that energize and inspire you. Spend time with people who uplift you, engage in hobbies that bring you joy, and focus on goals that give your life purpose. When you fill your life with positivity, you'll find it easier to resist the pull of negativity from toxic individuals. Step 8, practice emotional regulation. Toxic people often provoke strong emotions, anger, frustration, sadness, and it's easy to feel overwhelmed in their presence. Practicing emotional regulation can help you stay grounded and avoid reacting impulsively. Techniques like deep breathing, mindfulness, and grounding exercises can be incredibly effective in maintaining your composure. For example, when faced with a toxic remark, take a deep breath and remind yourself, I control my reaction, not them. Step 9, reflect and recess. Finally, take time to reflect on how you're using your energy. Are you spending too much time worrying about someone else's behavior? Are there areas where you could disengage more effectively? Regular self-reflection can help you identify patterns and make adjustments to protect your energy in the future. Dealing with toxic people can feel isolating and exhausting, but one of the most effective ways to counter their impact is to seek support and focus on building resilience. While toxic individuals may try to erode your confidence and peace, leaning on others and strengthening your inner foundation can help you rise above their influence. Let's explore how seeking support and cultivating resilience can empower you to handle these challenging dynamics with strength and grace. Step 1, acknowledge the value of support. Human beings are inherently social creatures wired for connection. When facing toxic behavior, one of the most damaging effects can be a sense of isolation. Toxic people often make us question ourselves, leading to self-doubt and a tendency to withdraw. But isolation can amplify their impact, leaving you without the perspective and encouragement you need. Seeking support is not a sign of weakness, it's a mark of wisdom. It takes courage to admit when you need help and to reach out to others who can provide guidance, validation, or simply a listening ear. Whether it's family, friends, coworkers, or a therapist, connecting with trusted individuals can help you process your experiences, gain clarity, and remind you of your worth. Step 2, surround yourself with positive influences. One of the best ways to counteract the negativity of toxic people is to intentionally surround yourself with those who uplift and inspire you. These are the people who see your potential, celebrate your strengths, and encourage you to keep going when times are tough. Positive influences in your life act as a buffer, providing emotional nourishment that offsets the draining effects of toxic interactions. Ask yourself, who makes me feel seen, valued, and supported? Spend more time with those individuals. This doesn't mean you need to share every detail of your struggles. Sometimes just being in the presence of kind, affirming people can remind you that not everyone is out to tear you down. Step 3, build a network of allies. If the toxic person is someone you have to interact with regularly, such as a coworker or family member, it can be especially helpful to build a network of allies. These are people who understand your situation and can offer practical advice or act as a source of solidarity. For example, a coworker who can back you up during difficult interactions at work. A family member who can help mediate or provide emotional support. A friend who listens without judgment and helps you maintain perspective. Allies don't have to solve the problem for you. They're there to remind you that you're not alone and to offer encouragement when you need it most. Step 4, consider professional support. In some cases, dealing with toxic people can take a significant toll on your mental and emotional health. If you find yourself struggling with anxiety, depression, or self-doubt as a result of these interactions, it may be time to seek professional help. Therapists and counselors are trained to help you navigate complex relationships, build coping strategies, and develop a stronger sense of self-worth. Therapy provides a safe, judgment-free space where you can unpack your feelings, gain insight into the dynamics at play, and work toward healing. It's an invaluable resource for anyone looking to build resilience and reclaim their power. Step 5, develop emotional resilience. Resilience is your ability to bounce back from adversity, and it's a skill that can be cultivated over time. While toxic people may try to chip away at your confidence or peace of mind, building resilience allows you to stand firm and recover more quickly from their influence. Here's how. 1. Strengthen your sense of self. Toxic individuals often try to make you doubt yourself. But resilience starts with knowing who you are. Take time to reflect on your values, strengths, and accomplishments. Remind yourself of what makes you unique and valuable. When you have a strong sense of self, it becomes harder for someone else to shake your confidence. 2. Practice emotional regulation. Resilience doesn't mean you don't feel emotions. It means you learn to manage them in healthy ways. When a toxic person's behavior triggers you, pause before reacting. Take a deep breath, remind yourself that their actions are about them, not you, and choose how you want to respond. Techniques like mindfulness, journaling, or meditation can help you stay grounded in the face of negativity. 3. Focus on what you can control. Toxic people often thrive on creating chaos or exerting control over others. Resilience involves recognizing what's within your power and letting go of what isn't. You can't control someone else's behavior, but you can control how you respond, set boundaries, and prioritize your well-being. Step 6, learn from adversity. Every interaction with a toxic person presents an opportunity for growth. While their behavior may be challenging, it can also teach you valuable lessons about your own boundaries, triggers, and strengths. Over time, you can use these experiences to build greater self-awareness and develop strategies for dealing with difficult people in the future. Ask yourself, what have I learned about myself through this experience? How can I apply these lessons to protect myself moving forward? What strengths have I discovered in the process of overcoming these challenges? Step 7, celebrate your progress. Building resilience and seeking support are not one-time actions. They're ongoing practices that require effort and dedication. Take time to acknowledge the progress you've made, no matter how small, whether it's setting a boundary, seeking help, or simply choosing not to engage with toxic behavior. Every step forward is a victory worth celebrating. Dealing with toxic people is one of life's most challenging experiences, but it's also an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. By understanding the importance of setting and enforcing boundaries, practicing self-compassion, choosing your energy wisely, seeking support, and building resilience, you equip yourself with the tools to navigate even the most difficult relationships. Remember, toxic people thrive on negativity, but their behavior is not a reflection of your worth or who you are. You are not responsible for fixing or changing them, but you are responsible for protecting your peace, preserving your energy, and prioritizing your well-being. These strategies allow you to reclaim your power and focus on what truly matters in your life. It's also important to celebrate the courage it takes to face these challenges. Every time you say no to toxic behavior, set a healthy boundary, or choose not to engage in negativity, you're affirming your strength and self-respect. Each step, no matter how small, brings you closer to a life where you are free to thrive without the weight of someone else's toxicity holding you back. You deserve relationships that uplift, encourage, and inspire you. By applying these clever strategies, you're not just surviving toxic people, you're rising above them. You're choosing growth over stagnation, peace over chaos, and self-respect over compromise. And in that choice, you reclaim the power to shape your own life. Let this journey be a reminder that you are resilient, capable, and worthy of a life filled with positivity, authenticity, and joy.